There are things known and there are things unknown. And in between are the doors of perception. And the doorways of perception are now open. Get ready to travel down the highway to hide strangeness. Buckle up, buttercups. It's time for a view. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am your humble host, Dennis Carroll, and this is Paranormal Point of View. I think this is episode 41. I think that's how 41 or 42. I'll have to remember. I've got it written down. But anyway, I want to welcome you all. Whoa. What a week. What a week we've had, huh? Yes, sir. We're going to be talking a little bit about that tonight. And we're going to be talking about premature burial. That's always a fun topic. All right. I want to say, well, welcome to all my good friends gathering out here in the grotto tonight. I want to be your ghost host with the most, so pull up a tombstone and make yourself at home. All right. Hello, Midwest. Good to have you here, brother. Wizard Moon, Scott's Life, Dragonfly. Yes, sir. We got Mr. Riley Ron in here tonight. Yes, sir. We've got some people gathering in, definitely. The group is gathering. Hello, Dawn. Good to have you here. Yes, sir. The girl and her gong. Hello, my dear. Good to have you here, Demaria. And that's who we've got in the house right now. Of course, we're going to wait. We've always got some stragglers. We got a few people that's going to have to sign off. So we wait for them. Little Kilroy, good to have you here. And hello, Riley Ron. All right. Yes, sir. Absolutely. I tell you what, I just marked myself safe from marauding monkeys. Okay. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know South Carolina news. Okay. We got a bunch of monkeys that got loose from a lab in South Carolina, about 40 some odd monkeys. And they're not that far from where I'm. I think they're about like 100 and so miles from where I'm at. But anyway, I had to mark myself safe today from marauding monkeys. Okay, I hope I'm gonna stay safe anyway. Luckily, I don't think they were experimenting on these monkeys. That's what they say now. Take that for what it's worth. There's some monkeys roaming around South Carolina. Yeah, we've got a few. And we have them all the time. We've got some, they say supposedly on an island off the coast called Monkey Island. That's where they supposedly take the monkeys that live through their experiments and turn them loose on that island. I've heard that now. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But Monkey Island sounds like a place you would not want to vacation in. Absolutely, I wouldn't want to lay on the beach there with those guys. Because who knows what kind of viruses and stuff they're carrying. Midwest says he hopes they're not flying monkeys. Some of them might be. I'm going to tell you what. Monkeys come very close to flying anyway, even without wings. They're very much. I tell you what, the only thing can outdo a monkey, though, that's a squirrel. If you could climb and jump like a squirrel, my friends, you would be in excellent shape. Oh, yeah. Lord have mercy. I used to do some squirrel hunting when I was younger. I put a lot of squirrels in the ground. And they were well. I used to have a stand of pecan trees, and it was me and the squirrels. We had to fight each other. It was war. You know what I mean? And eventually, they ended up winning. I cut the trees down though. But anyway, what were they doing with the monkeys? They were They were actually going to put them in labs and experiment on them. They had never been anything done to them. So that's what they say. And that they got out of the cages somehow, around 50 of them, I think. And I think most all of them were female monkeys, and I'm not sure about that. But if that's the case, there won't be any breeding monkeys out there, maybe. But they're gonna kind of keep an eye on their butts. They don't want to let too much information out, and they're not gonna get any bad PR out of it if they can help it. They go good and stew. Monkeys stew, huh? Sugar gliders are fun. Yeah, sugar gliders. I like them. Yeah, they're neat. People eat squirrels. They make my mind. I just cannot bring myself to eat a squirrel. It's too much like a darn rat. You know what I mean? I call them fairy tale rats, tree rats. That's what they are. They are tree rats. You got rats live on the ground. You got rats live in the trees. And then all day long, they make a mess out of stuff and do the things they do. And then they go home and the night shift takes over. That's when the flying squirrels take over, the night shift. They only come out at night. They got it down pat. They know what they're doing. The monkey business. Mm-hmm. I don't know about monkeys too. Yeah. I don't know about monkeys too. I don't know about that. I don't want to know about monkeys too. No, thank you. It does not sound like a delicacy. I was thinking about Indiana Jones with the monkey brains. Jellied monkey brains. Remember that? I won't eat a squirrel either. I don't blame you. Then too much like a rat. Yeah, if you eat squirrels, you eat rats. Okay, there you go. In my book, that's just the way I look at it. I could be wrong. We could be disagreeing on this, And that's what I got to talk about tonight when we get a few more people in here. We're going to talk about some current events, and then we're going to also talk about premature burial. That used to be a very bad problem years ago. We're going to talk a little bit about that. The kittens keep bringing squirrels. Yeah, they do. They are dead on the squirrels. To them, like I say, they don't see a difference between squirrels and rats. They're going after them. But I tell you what, I have actually had cats that would kill possums. They would bring dead possums up, and dead snakes. They'll bring. Oh, they love to eat lizards too. By the way, they are crazy about lizard cats. I don't want them to eat the lizards because the lizards eat the bugs and they're real good to have in the garden. I try to save everyone I can from the cats. People do eat monkeys and oh yeah, monkeys too. Yeah. They also like to eat people too. But that's the story for another time. Okay, yeah, yep. My dog crazy about chasing lizards. Oh yeah. Anything that moves that gets their attention, but it's something like that on the ground, crawling along. Everything. I had a little waterfall pond out in the back there. It wasn't a pond actually. It's really a fountain, more or less. And from somewhere or another, I had a frog, not a toad. Now, I mean a real frog. It took up residence in that, and I wanted him to stay there. I said that was neat. I thought he was neat. And my cat found out about it, and that was the end of the frog. And yes, chases the crows away. They go after the squirrel. Well, he's doing this. The squirrels ought to pay him for that. Yeah. I've actually seen crows fight off hawks and chase them away. Crows can be mean when they want to be. Oh, absolutely. Here's the weird thing. Wherever I go outside, wherever I go, no matter when it is, unless it's the middle of the night, I hear crows show up. They follow me around. I don't know why that is, but that's weird. We got a cat who let baby skunks loose in the kitchen through the dog. Oh, God. That's bad. Of course, I don't think they can spray when they're babies. I don't think. I don't know. I don't want to find out. But I've had a couple times where I've actually ran into a skunk and we went our separate ways. We were definitely good with that, He went his way, I went my way, and that's the way we wanted it. Yeah, very good. Yep. Yep. But anyway, yeah, we've had what a week. What a roller coaster wild week it has been, huh? Hello, Brown Dwarf. Salute to you, bud. Good to have you here. Got to get you on the show very soon, okay? We're going to get together very soon and do some talking, okay? We got some stuff to talk about here. But I appreciate you, brother. I saw a Cardinal hits the Blue Jay at my bird feeder. Oh, yeah, they'll attack. Yes, sir. They will do it. Absolutely. I tell you the thing about animals, okay? They truly have no concept of size. They just don't know how little or big they truly are. You know what I'm saying? They really don't realize that. So that's the way that goes there. Okay, anytime, Brown Dwarf. Okay, we're going to set that up very soon, brother. Very soon. Absolutely. And we're going to get the lowdown on what's going on the West Coast there. But yeah, it's been quite a week. A roller coaster ride politically. I think we've seen the presence of Almighty God working in this country. Okay? That's what I can say without a doubt. I think we've seen the presence and we've seen the miracles that he can do and the power that he has. When he needs to do things, he gets it done. Absolutely. And it's amazing to see. It is. And I just want to say this, and I know that some of you out there disagree with me, and that's okay. That's what America's about, you know. I can disagree with you. You can disagree with me. You're not going to believe or agree with everything I say, and I'm not going to do the same with you. That's just the way that's go. That's life. I'm not going to hate you for that. I'm going to still be your friend, okay? All right, because I don't operate that way, but some people don't believe in that. They think if you don't hold their same political leanings or whatever, they hate you for that. They really hate you. I've seen a lot of friendships go down the drain because of stuff like that, and it's a shame. It really is a shame because as an American, I said this before, I'll say it again, and I stand back because I don't say what I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. Okay, and I'm not gonna say this off the cuff. But I believe in your right to say whatever it is you have to say. And I will defend that right as an American to the death because that is what America is supposed to be all about. You know? So, anyway, I just wanted to put that out there for you. But we had quite a emotional roller coaster ride, definitely this week. And things may have not turned out for some people the way they wanted to, but that's life. That's the life. But life goes on, you know? Life goes on. We gotta take our wounds and move it on down the line and hopefully we heal from them. Hold on just a minute. I gotta get me a drink out of my cup here. That's my regular cup there. My camo cup. And yeah, that's the way life goes there, Scott's Life. Hello. Good to have you here, man. That is the way life goes. There's another bird that chases off crows. I can't think of his name though. Oh, there's crows getting into it with the robins a lot. And I've seen robins chase crows away. But crows can be mean too. They can chase a hawk. You don't mess with a hawk, usually. A hawk will get you, buddy. But crows are not scared of them at all. Oh, thank you, Wizard Moon. That's a cup. That's what I have when I get real thirsty. It holds about 60 ounces, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's the big cup. That's what I like about something that size. You don't have to refill it a lot. You know what I mean? That's the way it goes. Yeah, it's been quite a political, emotional ride. And even though it may have went the way I wanted it to go, I'm not going to gloat about it because that's not nice to do. But I think, like I said, a lot of prayers got answered, and we seen a miracle take place. I believe that without a doubt. Because there was a lot of praying going on. You know, I don't usually get political here, okay? I try not to get political on my show because people get mad and they start having name calling and they get tantrums and they start becoming haters. And I don't usually get into that. I try not to get into that. It bores me to a great extent, by the way, okay? It is a boring subject. And that's why I'm not going to talk about that much tonight. But, you know, it does figure into world current events, so you can't ignore it. Although I don't like to get political, I like to stay paranormal. Okay. I like to be paranormal. This is paranormal point of view, okay? And I have been watching. I got hung up on something that I've been watching a couple of times since Halloween, and that is the original Salem's Lot. I love it. I love to watch that movie. It is great. Just the way it's played out, great actors, the story's good. I have not seen the new one. No, I have not. I don't think I want to see the new one because I've heard some bad things about it. But it will never match the original. No, 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 no. Absolutely not. But I highly recommend it to you if you've never watched the original Salem Lot. Cos Life says if the politicians would stop texting me, I would be happy. Well, you need to block them. Block them. That's what I do. I got a nice block button there, you know. Yeah. Yeah, that's a classic. Absolutely. I love it. John Fortman is in the house. Okay. Hello. Hello, Coco. Let's see. Yeah, what there's Juno. Hello, Juno. Hello. Yes, they stay paranormal, not political. Yeah. I do block them. They just come back with you on number. Yeah, they got that's a computer generated thing, actually, that they do. And it really should be outlawed by not just politicians, by all of them across the board. It is an invasion of privacy. I mean, that phone, you pay for it. You work hard to pay the bills for that. It should be a private thing for you, and they shouldn't be used by them because they don't pay for it. If they're going to use it, they ought to help pay for it, right? It's wrong. Yes, it is. I do block them. Yeah, he does block them. Hey, okay, I'm sorry. This thing is moving kind of weird tonight. Yes, it's borderline harassment. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. In my book, it is. And really, that's disrespecting somebody. When you start harassing them, I don't care whatever way. And I've had some trolls harass me. Okay, I had one get on my case that was really trolling me out bad, and he was a real hater. What he was basically trying to do was get me to get argumented with him and do some other stuff, which I wasn't gonna fall into that trap. I'm too smart for that. Okay, I'm not gonna go that way. I'm not gonna give them any ammunition. That's what they want, you know. They want you to do something like that. But I've had my share of haters. Don't think I've been called every name in the book, and then some. We were watching it past to part 2 just now. It's so bad. John Swarm, you talking about Salem's Lot? Now I'm talking about the original Salem's Lot. Is this the new one or the old one that you're watching? I just wondered. I haven't watched the new one. The original in my book was terrific, and it held to the Stephen King book more. It was no, yeah. Oh, you watching Pennywise? Okay, you watching it? Okay, yeah. It is very disturbing. Yeah. Well, I tell you, it plays off the fear of child molesters and stuff like that. You know, that's what and the clown, of course. That's definitely part of it. Some people are really freaked out by clowns. They know what scares you, and they don't mind using it either. You love the book. Yeah, the book was great. That was back when he wrote good books. He can't do it anymore. Why, I don't know, but he just lost it. He lost it way back. For me, I used to be a Stephen King fan originally, with Silver Bullet and some of these other ones, Cujo. But after some of that stuff, he really lost it. I read a theory once that Mary Poppins and Pennywise are the same species. They do exhibit the same supernatural talents, do they not? That would be freaky. Okay. Maybe, just maybe, Pennywise escaped from Mary Poppins' world. She's from another dimension, probably. That's probably what went on. And if he got out, who else got out, right? Might be Freddy and some of these other people. Yeah, they both have supernatural powers, absolutely. Magical powers. Yeah, Silver Bullet is one of my favorites going on. Absolutely. That's one of my favorite werewolf movies right there. And Gary Busey was fantastic in that. I love Gary Busey. He's great. He's a character in real life. He's a character. I think he's on he's on the Instagram and TikTok, and he does videos that you can like pay to have him say happy birthday to you, and he'll sing you a song or something. He's doing that for a living now, I think. But he looks very old and looks like he's been, I think, has some very bad health issues, I think. Mary Poppins and the Hunter set off after Pennywise. Maybe Mary Poppins' her true vocation is hunting down Pennywise. That may be what it is, and returning him back to that weird dimension of clowns, from which the killer clowns escaped too, by the way. Maybe that's her job, hunting him down. But anyway, that's check out that Salem, the original Salem's Lot, if you have not done so. I don't think it's probably most of you have seen it, the original, but I enjoyed it. It's really great. Got another movie to recommend to you. It is sort of a Christian movie, but it is a great movie, and it's called God Is Not Dead. And you need to check this one out. It is got a great story, and it is very much into what our times are going through right now. It's about a evangelical preacher who gets elected to Congress and what happens after that. You need to watch this movie. Great movie. God Is Not Dead. Got some good actors in it. Scott, what's his name from Hercules? I can't think of his name. You got him in it. It's got a lot of good actors in it. Check it out. God is not dead, and he definitely is not. Beautiful book, yeah. Mary Poppins was. Did you know they actually? I saw this on TV. They actually found the movie prop of her carpet bag in somebody's attic where he'd been for like 30 years. They didn't know that thing was worth $500,000. That's what it went to auction for, the original carpet bag of Mary Poppins. Wow, boy, I wish I would have found that. Yeah, Kevin Sorbo, I couldn't think of his name. I'm sorry. Thank you for that. Kevin Sorbo is a good actor. I like him. I just think of Hercules when I look at him. I know he's played other things, but he'll always be sort of Hercules to me. When the oracle readers talk about your spirits and guides, tell me who are your spirits they're talking about, and is it real? Well, Riley, here's my spin on that, okay? And you got to really watch out who and what you're dealing with in these circumstances. But I think most of the time, these so-called spirit guides are not spirit guides, and the way they think they are. I think they are evil spirits. They like to screw people up. They like to screw with your mind. They like to screw with your life. Okay, they are out to mess you up. And let me say this, and you're gonna hear. You know what? When it comes to investigation and understanding a lot of paranormal stuff, the number one most important question you can ask is why. Okay, let me say this because I'm going roundabout way with an answer here. But listen very close. Why? Why? Okay, don't forget that. It's very important that you ask that question when you confronted with things like this. But when you are communicating with the other side, no matter how you do that, okay, whether it's the stupidity of a Ouija board or whatever the situation, whenever you're trying to communicate with the other side, who do you know who you're really, really talking to over there? You don't. You really don't. You can't take, and I got into it one time with a psychic, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. I'll tell you this quick story. I told her we were doing an investigation, and she told me something like there's a little girl that died and she got molested or something. She was killed in this room, and come to find out that never happened. Okay. But that's what she was saying. So I told her, well, how did you find this out? Because I'm always interested in it. Okay. I said, how did you find out? She said, well, my spirit guide told me. And I said, well, who is your spirit guide? She said, well, he's my spirit guide. I said, who told you that? She said, my spirit guide told me that. How stupid can you be? They can tell you anything and you're going to believe it? Like I said before, we need to have open minds, but not so open to the fact that our brains fall out. Okay? Remember that. Common sense is what you got to exhibit. And some of these people are not exhibiting common sense. Okay? That's the way that ball bounces. Especially these that are dabbling in it or not even real psychics. You don't even know where these people are coming from. A lot of readers tune in to Scanning Records. It's basically the library of all it is and was and will be. So-called, yeah. I'm going to tell you what. People are believing a whole lot of things that are not true. They are being misled. There's been a lot of misrepresentation, a lot of misleading going on here. Trust me. I know how these demonic so-called spirits work. And I know how they can muddle up your mind and get you to believe some of the weirdest, most outlandish things out there that have absolutely no foundation in true reality. Don't believe everything you see and hear and that you're told. Trust me, don't do that, because you can be easily misled by some things, and that is their very nature and how they do stuff. They like to mislead you away from the real truth. Like her response was, it blocked evil spirits. Or, I don't know. How are you going to block evil spirits if you believe everything they tell you? It ain't going to work. You know? That's just the way it goes. I want to tell you there are some real records very much like the escape records, okay? I'll tell you where they're at, though. They're sitting right now in the halls of heaven. And only God and Jesus Christ have access to those records. And they're all about you and me. Every thought we've ever thought, every action we've ever done, every single action that we have ever done is recorded in those books. And one day, those books will be opened in front of you and me. And we will have to give an account for what's in those books. That's the real record, the book of life and all that you need to really worry about. That's the real records that are being kept, okay? And they're being kept in heaven by God Almighty. That's where they're at. Believe it or not. It's like it was recently arrested for duping a woman in Pennsylvania. It goes on. It happens all the time. You've got a lot of people that think, just like you have in the paranormal community, okay? You got some people out there, and I'm not going to call names, in the paranormal and the cryptid community. And by the way, the paranormal and the cryptid community have both merged into one now, okay? They're the one and the same now. They're no longer separate fields of study. They are one and the same now, okay? Because everybody's brought all these supernatural creatures into it and everything else. It is now one field, okay? Matter of fact, I talk about that in the next book I'm going to have coming out, and it's called Paracryptology, okay? The study of monsters. And that's what I say in the book. Those two fields are now one. Might as well look at it that way. But even people in those fields, the paranormal, the cryptid, all the different fields, including psychics and all this other, you have got a lot of fraudulent stuff going on. I mean, a ton of fraudulent stuff. And these people are in it for one reason only, to defraud and make as much money out of it as possible. That's their bottom line. And you got to watch out who you're dealing with, who you got in your group, whose group you're in. You better know these people, okay? Because there are a lot of fraud going on, a lot of false stuff being done, only because they are out to make money any way they want possible. That's right, going on. And what is the root of all evil? The love of money. Don't fall into that trap. Absolutely. You got a lot of fraud. Believe me, I could write a book on how many times that they have tried to pull some stuff on me. You wouldn't believe, okay? And I'm talking about there's some real names, and I'm not going to call any names. I'm not going to get into that. But I could tell you some names that will curl your hair of some of these frauds that you already know, okay? They're out there to make the money, 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 honey. My grandfather told me many years ago, always, always, whatever it is, be suspicious of it if it involves money. And that was very true, very wise words. I get sick of the fakery. Yeah, it's sickening. Yeah, I can't stand it. The fakery going on, the AI images they're putting out, and all this other stuff. Like I say, they are on the side of the demonic spirits. They're muddling up the minds of people. They're screwing up everything. You don't have if you're going to have a science, a true science, and that's what a lot of people are trying to do in these fields, you don't approach it that way. That's not the way you do it. You know, you got to have substantiated stuff here and people who are substantial people. Some of these people are nothing but it's about, what's the next TV show going to be? What's the next thing they're going to do to make money on? The tours they're going to give, the tours that they have, and all this other stuff. They're out to make money. That's how they make their money. Fire water about his eye, huh? I like that, man. Fire water about his eye. Okay. Well, good to have you here. But anyway, I just want to warn you, don't believe in everything here. Don't let your brain fall out, okay? It's good to have an open mind. Just don't let your brain fall out. Because then you'll probably trip over it and get hurt, okay? Don't do that. Okay. I've seen clothing ads now done in AI. Like how you can possibly see how the clothes fits. And I know it. That's crazy. They're made for some kind of Paris model. It weighs about 98 pounds. You know what I mean? How you gonna judge that on a real human body? Okay. But that's the way AI will eventually have some mind behind it. But we gotta always remember something about AI and everything else like that. It is programmed by human beings, and human beings are the most imperfect creatures in this universe. Okay. Take it from there. Okay. That's the way that goes. But anyway, my grandfather nicknamed me Firewater, small child, because it's full of his finger. Okay. Firewater. All right. Well, it used to be the name for whiskey that the American Indians used to talk about. Whiskey was firewater. Anyway. And boy, that probably was real firewater, too. That. Yeah. But anything, what's the name of that liquor they sell in the little bottles? Fireball. And the motto is it tastes like heaven, burns like hell. That's a crazy, crazy motto for liquor, but that's it. Fireball was a great origin story. What a great origin story, yeah. Yeah, that's very good. It's hard to tell what's real and what's not. Absolutely, and that's the way they want it. Don't you understand? That's the design. That's behind everything. You know about that. Absolutely. That's the way it goes. Remember the very famous words of Edgar Allan Poe. Believe nothing that you hear and half of what you see. How very true that is. Now I would, recommend don't even believe hardly anything you see. Okay, because it's not real. We talked about this. I did a episode of with my good friend Kenny the other night. I want to talk to you about that. I want an endorsement. If you don't know about it, there is a YouTube channel called Midnight Lycanthropy. Okay, and it's run by this great guy. His name's Kenny Tebow, I think. Yeah. Anyway, I guest on there a lot. I'm a guest on there, and so is Jessica. Jessica's on there a lot too. But it's called Midnight Lycanthropy, and Jessica and I are members of the Midnight Society. Okay, that is attached to this. You can check all this out on YouTube. Okay, but anyway, I did a show with him last night, and we talked about vampires and werepires. That's a half vampire, half werewolf, by the way. Werepires. I talked about them a lot. I talked about the boo hag, and how you need to paint your room paint blue to keep them away. Anyway, we talked a lot about some very interesting subjects, but we talked about the glamour that vampires put out. And they can be very bad looking individuals. They can look they can look like monsters, like the way they used to do on Buffy when they would show their real face, They really do have a monstrous face, but they use the glamour so that you never see that. They see that you see the image they want you to see. And they can be very attractive to you. Okay, and that's where it becomes very deadly that you do not believe what you see, because most of the time it ain't the real thing. But check that out, Midnight Lycanthropy, and check out my show last Wednesday with my good friend Barry Littleton. We had a great time. Check it out if you missed it. It's on my channel, and also did a great show with Jessica on The Wild Man. It's on my channel. Check it out. Okay, great stuff. But we've had a very interesting week, and tomorrow night, I'm going to make this announcement now. I've got something special tomorrow night for all of you, okay? 9 o'clock p.m. tomorrow night, Saturday night. Yes, I know it's Saturday night. I'm going to have my good friend Drew Winsky from Crypti Warfare on a special edition of Hunting the Shadows tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, okay? You have been warned, all right? Kenny's channel that Dennis and Jessica appear on. Okay, let me put that up. The Star Fox. I couldn't think of it. Thank you for doing that, dear. I'll put that up for everybody. It's Star Fox channel, but it's also called Midnight Lycanthropy. You can look it up that way too. Check it out. He does some excellent work. Now he does radio type interviews. There's no visual thing. I mean, there's no pictures in studio stuff. It's mostly radio, so you can listen to it while you do your housework. Okay. Then if the half werewolf, half vampire, wolves were swimming, they'd be down wolves or down fires, whichever way you want to look at it. Absolutely. But the downfire is a half human, half vampire. But they can get cursed by the werewolf, then they become the werepires. And here's one more thing. You can have not just a hybrid, but a tribrid. So the half werewolf, half vampire becomes a necromancer or a sorcerer. You've got a tribrid. Think about that. Might blow your mind a little bit. Drewinski's channel. Okay, let's put his channel up. That's Crypti Warfare. We tried to get him on, but that was when that hurricane hit. And it's been like a, touch and go ever since then, trying to get him on. But we've locked it down for Saturday night at 9 o'clock, okay? And it's going to be a special Hunting the Shadows. You don't want to miss it. Absolutely not. Be there. Do not come to this, okay? All right. Yeah, Star Fox Media that was the name of that. I couldn't think of it. Thank you for that. Yeah, Barry Littleton's. If you've got Barry Littleton's YouTube, you could put that up. We'll put that up before the night's over. I couldn't find it the other night. Tribrid is starting to sound like this cheesy movie I once read about. Half monster hunter, half were dragon, half spider. God, everything in that one. There you go. But I said, but really, it would not. I don't think in my book it would be a tribrid. Okay, because in order to become a werewolf, most of the time, unless you get infected, you got to be a sorcerer anyway. And sometimes you got to be a sorcerer to become a vampire. So you may already be a sorcerer. Does that make it a tribrid thing? I don't know. The jury may be out on that. We'll have to check on that later. But anyway, it's starting to get muddled up here. But I would not want to run into it. Here's the thing about it, the werepire. If you run into a werewolf vampire, he would be incredibly super strong. He would be doing things that no normal werewolf could do or no normal vampire could do. you would have a vampire werewolf thing on steroids. Okay, that would be a bad situation in itself when you think about it. Okay, I would not want to run into one. Definitely not. Werewolf be bad enough, vampire bad enough. When you combine them, yeah, it's headache time or neck headache time. Barry Littleton's channel, thank you, dear. And we'll put that up there. We go. And ask everybody to check out him. And has anyone run into one? Well, it's supposedly there are stories that there are vampires that are werewolves and werewolves that are vampires. There's supposedly some stories out there. I think in New Orleans, supposedly some of this has happened. And you got to remember about the Rugaru. Now, the Rugaru, which is a different animal altogether here, okay? It is more or less like a Wendigo in some ways. It is an evil spirit that can assume form and possess people. The Rugaru is kind of different than a werewolf, okay? But in the Rugaru can be half Rugaru and half witch. They can come from that direction too. So you're looking at sort of like a skinwalker on steroids. That's a bad situation too if you want to think about that. So you do have the ability in monsterdom for things to be hybrids and tribrids. Things can get pretty bad, absolutely, in that kind of a situation. The poor old monster hunters would have a problem with that. Sounded like Underworld, didn't they? End up getting a super tough hybrid. Yeah, he was a hybrid. He was werewolf and vampire eventually. That's why they wanted to do him in. They were all afraid of him. The werewolves were afraid of him. The vampires were afraid of him. Because he was a hybrid. He was both in the same, but more super powered than they were. That's why they were afraid of him. That was the whole premise of Underworld, by the way. What is their origin? Where did they come from? Well, they're basically all rooted in dark, evil magic, witchcraft, whatever name you want to give it, the dark arts. That's how you become these things. In order for you to become a true vampire or a true werewolf, you must sell your soul and do certain evil things to acquire this demonic power. This is all hooked up to the demonic, okay? In this universe, my friends, you're either hooked up to the demonic or you're hooked up to God. That's just the way it goes, okay, in this universe. Don't say there's any gray areas in there. There may be some slight gray areas, but they don't last gray for very long. But that's the way it goes spiritually in this universe, okay? You're either good or bad. You're either the light or you're the darkness. But let me say one thing right here without a doubt. Trust me when I say this statement. The light is greater than the darkness. Don't ever forget that. It's very, very, very important that you remember that. The light is stronger than the darkness. Okay. The darkness is not as strong as the light, and it never will be. That's the way to things, and that's why we preach just positive stuff all the time against the negative things that are out there. And there's a lot of negative things, not just Bigfoot, not just Dogman. That's all you ever hear about. But there's more than that out there, my friends. I put a thing on my Facebook about Lamia. Do you know who Lamia is? She is the goddess of vampires. She's half woman, half snake. I have to tell you about her sometime. But Lamia is a well-known deity, supposedly, amongst vampires. She is the goddess of vampires. Anyway, make a long story short, there's a lot more out there than just Dogman and Bigfoot. Okay, trust me when I say that. And I'm not trying to get down on people that talk about that all the time. I'm not saying that. That's fine. We need to talk about that. But there's more out there than that. You gotta understand that. This world, this universe is a whole lot more complex and darker than you believe. But the light is greater than the darkness. I stake my life and my soul on that. Because it's worth it. That truth is worth it. That is the truth. And it will stand forever. The goddess of vampires, girl in her gauntlet says. Absolutely. She is the goddess. But guess what? Remember, don't forget, on the flip side, the patron saint of vampire hunters, St. Dennis. St. Dennis is cool. Not just because his name is Dennis either, okay? Now you 100% on that, Freedom Lover says. Absolutely. The light is greater than the darkness. When you open the door, does the darkness fall in your house? No. You open the door, the light falls out, though, doesn't it? The light is something. It is substance. It exists. The darkness is nothing. The darkness has no power, true power, unless we give it to it. One small candle will overtake the darkness. Absolutely right, Firewater. That's the way that works. St. Dennis is cool. Yes, he's all right. He lost his head, but he came out a winner in that situation. But yeah, we got to remember that. Now we got to hold on to that fact. We got to hold on to the light. And that's a very famous quotation from Plato. We can forgive a child who is afraid of the dark, but we cannot forgive men and women who are afraid of the light. Don't ever forget that. Your name implies you're more the pitch of a Molotov cocktail into the darkness type. God created everything there is, no greater power. Absolutely. He created all things. Whether some of them went bad against, some of them went against God, and things will happen like that, folks. No matter how good of a life you lead, you're gonna always have enemies. You're gonna have people come after you. You're gonna have people say mean things about you and do evil things against you. That's just the way it happens in this universe right now. Okay, but one day that's gonna get fixed. Okay, trust me. I'm not going to get into the religious aspects of all that now. Now, I want to turn to a few minutes here in the final stages of our program here and talk about premature burial. Okay? And I have a quotation for you on that, and this is the way it goes. Okay. Let me get it ready here. Get it in my mind how it goes here. The boundaries that separate life and death are at best shadowy and vague. Who is to say exactly where it is that the one ends and the other begins? In certain mysterious maladies, all functions of vitality in the human body seem to stop, and then some unseen force sets the magic pinions and the wizard wheels in motion once again. The silver cord has not been cut, the golden bowl has not been broken, and the soul, one wonders, what meantime has happened to the soul? Many years ago, Edgar Allan Poe pondered the questions of mysterious sleeps and strange awakenings in a story entitled The Premature Burial. And what I just recited to you is the beginning of the premature burial. Okay, those are the words of Edgar Allan Poe. And he touched upon a very interesting subject several times in his writings, and that is premature burial. That was a thing people really worried about, because if you had the dreaded disease of catalepsy, you could not exhibit signs of life when you fell into this fit. They would think you were dead. They would perform certain tests on you, like sticking you with a pin or holding a mirror in front of your mouth to see if there was any breath, or tickle you with a feather and do certain things like that to see if there was any kind of reaction. You could very easily be buried alive. Freedom Love says, we are the warriors of God and I will always stand for God. All right, brother, that is good to hear. What's the insignia on your shirt? Is it something interesting? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. That is the Knights Templar. I am a member of the Knights Templar, and this is a shirt they gave me as a member. We just got the U.S. thing on the side there, U.S. chapter. But that is Edgar Allan Poe, and he talked about premature burials. And there was a fact. Well, the reason I brought this up now, I want to tell you a very strange story about this. A very true story. It's a historical thing. Okay, but there was this man who, of course, he had a wife and he loved very, very dearly. And let's see, what we got here. Isn't that the one where the guy thinks he woke up wrapped in grave clothes and coughing and really had his jaws out and a tooth thing? woke up in a cramped berth of shit. Yeah, I remember hearing about that, but no, that's a different one, I think, actually. But anyway, many years ago, this man, of course, he had this wife that was very dear to him, and she had already had, I think, 3 children, and she was a great mother and all that, but she took sick. She took very ill one day, and they thought she died, and they put her in a coffin, and they had a funeral service, and at the graveside service, uh, the man, who was, of course, very distraught because he loved his wife very much, he just broke down on her coffin, and he was crying. He broke down, and he heard something. And he had them men to tear the lid off of that coffin. And his wife was alive. She was very close to being buried alive. Very close to it. And they got her out, and she went on. She recovered from her illness, went on and had a happy life, had 3 more children. And one of those children was Robert E. Lee, the Civil War general. And it seems that some people are destined to be born no matter what, But that's a very interesting historical thing on that. Okay, I thought you might find that very interesting. That supposedly truly happened. That he was born after his mother died. That's very interesting. But that was a thing that happened a lot back in the day. They started putting bells on the graves. The person said they would ring the bell. Can you imagine past the cemetery and hear the bell? That's where you get that admonition, a dead ringer from. That's where you get that. That's where you say he's a dead ringer. Okay, that's where you get that from, a dead ringer. That would have to be. They call that listening for the midnight bell. The thing about it was, usually it took that long for these people to get over catalepsy during the whole funeral service and everything. They would be buried by then. And by about the middle of the night, around midnight, they would wake up, supposedly, and ring that bell. Listen for the midnight bell. You might hear a dead ringer. Bells are high vibrational sound frequency. Yeah, absolutely. I've done a lot of study on bells growing up. Matter of fact, I've used bells in cleansing ceremonies and in blessing places and stuff like that. The demonic hates bells because it is a high vibrational thing. They can't stand bells. You always heard that expression, hell's bells. I do not believe there's any bells in hell. Okay. Demons hate them too much. They cannot stand bells. That's just like mirrors. They don't like mirrors either. There's certain things that the demonic does not like, and I like them. Okay, that's the way that goes. But I use the bell, book, and candle a lot of times in getting rid of some of these spirits and places that need to be cleansed. And I will do a video one night on that for everyone. I will do a video on the bell, book, and candle thing, so that you can see how it's done if you ever need to do it yourself. Occasionally nowadays, still in this third world, as a news article about someone waking up at their funeral only live a day or so afterward, and because there's someone nearly dead. Well, you're not going to come back if they embalm you. Definitely not. You're not going to come back from that. You're dead. You're dead. It's not the autopsy killing you. Now, I may sat in on a few autopsies, by the way. And you do not want to watch an autopsy and then go have a spaghetti dinner later. Okay, you don't want to do that. But anyway, I have actually seen what you look like after you've been in the ground about 4 or 5 years, because I've actually been in the morgue when they have gotten caskets up out of the vault that have been in the ground for 4 or 5 years, somewhere in there. You do not look good at all, trust me. Werewolf, hello. Good to have you here. Let's see. I'm getting a lot of friend requests here. I did a show with the I think I remember telling you about this, but I did a show last week with Andy Decodes overseas in the UK. I've been getting a lot of friend requests since then. So a lot of people in the UK, I think, we had a great show, and I spent an hour with Andy on his show right before his break. and we had a great time. So you can check that out. That's also on YouTube. It was called Alien 8 UK. And check it out. Alien 8, like the number 8 UK. I remember X Files Scully doing an autopsy, found a pizza in the stomach, and they were going pizza and all. Yeah, yeah. You can find some very interesting things in autopsy. I've seen about. Let me see. I think I witnessed about four different autopsies. One was unfortunately on a child, and they found out that the child had actually choked to death, and it had swallowed something like a rubber ball, and they didn't know it, but it had gotten far down deep into the esophagus, and that is what killed this poor child. It was a very bad and sort of a very bad accident, but they found out. Andy the Code's channel. Okay, let me put that up. Thank you, boy. I tell you, you're fast on the draw there. You should have been a gunslinger, throwing a gun. Buffy's death was done. All of her friends automatically assumed they resurrected her from hell. Come to find out she was in heaven and resurrection traumatized her. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I was never a great big fan of Buffy. I liked the original movie. That was the best, I think. But Buffy was okay. It was okay. Well, my favorite character in Buffy was Angel. That's who I liked. I liked Angel the best. He had a very interesting backstory. She should have stayed with Angel. I used to attend my husband's mortuary science lectures. He had a conflicting lab, very interesting course. Oh yeah, it is called the science of mortuary. It is a science. Okay, there's a certain way you do things and all that you get done. But I was gonna say, well, wow, so good. I didn't know you live out the show. Well, good to have you here, Grandizer. Yeah, good. Did you find that out? Did you like the Angel spinoff show? I liked Angel better. Yeah, Angel was real cocky. I liked him. He was neat. He had better friends than Buffy. Okay. I like Charisma Carpenter the best. Whoa. Yeah, she was charisma, all right. Mm-hmm. Willow was my favorite character on Buffy. Oh yeah, yeah. I could see that. You look a little bit like Willow, a little bit. There's a resemblance there. Yeah. You ever think about going kind of like red hair? You might look more like Willow. We meet again. Granddaughter. I like the Angel series better than Buffy. Yeah, I did too. I think he just like you said, he was a cooler character, and he had Buffy was. I'm gonna tell you something about Buffy. It really got on my nerves. She was just way too emotional, too much. You know what I mean? She was. I don't know. She was. She didn't want to do it, and then she wanted to do it, and she didn't want to be that, and all this stuff. She had a very antagonistic type thing going on. I liked Angel better. Angel was a vampire with a soul. That was very interesting. Angel was neat, and he was a private detective too. To follow you here, chasing the werewolf. We are comparing life to TV, are we? Yeah, yeah. There we go. Yep, that's the way it goes. I'm surprised any of you didn't ask me about the Night Simpler that I'm in a member of. It's a very good organization. It's a Christian organization, not the original Night Simpler. Okay, they're not the original guys, although they are an offshoot of that, but only the religious aspects of it. Angel series went downhill. That's forced. Yeah, the writing on it and all that. I tell you what, the same guy that wrote Buffy and Angel wrote the best TV series ever made, and that was Firefly. You mentioned Night Templar before. Yeah, it is a Christian organization for pastors and ministers, actually. Buffy was a parent five daughter, had to grow up fast, yeah. And then you're knighted. Well, I am actually called a Knights Templar because but I'm not a real knight that way. I've never been knighted. The queen or the king has to do that, by the way. And it's just somehow or another he's not got around to it lately. Maybe one day he'll knight me, though. You never know. Then you could call me Sir Dennis. Well, Firefly and Werewolf, yeah, it was a fantastic show, and it lasted only, 14 episodes, and you can watch it for free on CW right now, by the way. On the CW channel, you get that app and watch it for free. All the whole series. It's very neat. Joss Whedon, yeah, couldn't think of his name. Great writer. He had a lot of stuff brought against him though, that he was like sexually harassing people, women and stuff. I don't know, something like that was going on. But he was a great writer. Just because you're a great writer does not sometimes mean you're a great person. That's just the way that goes. But anyway, unfortunately. But getting back to premature burials, that would have to be horrendous. Think about that. Waking up 6 feet underground with your air running out on you and nobody to hear you and all that situation. You're in a bad, bad situation. But I saw a movie one time called Buried Alive. Starred Tim Matheson. And it was a great movie. If you can ever get a chance to watch this, watch it. Buried Alive. And what it was, his wife was having an affair with some other guy, and they used poison from a puffer fish to poison him to make it look like he had a heart attack. But they didn't realize that this stuff is what they use on zombies. Okay, and he came back, but he had to claw his way out of a cheap casket on a rainy night, and his dog helped dig him up. By the way, you need to see this movie. Fantastic movie, Buried Alive. Great movie. Check it out if you ever get a chance. I thought many of you guys left me with nightmares. Yeah, it is a great movie, but that would be a bad situation. And you might remember in Kill Bill, she gets buried alive. Remember? They bury her alive in the grave of Paula Schultz, whoever that was. They bury her alive and she has to get out of there. That is a bad, bad situation that you would never want to get in. You ever want to be in that position? Never. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, that was a fear on a lot of people's minds, especially a Gothic fear that we call the Gothic Age, which was the latter part of the Victorian Age, the 1880s and 90s and all that, 70s, 80s, and 90s. That was the Gothic Age. And it went into like the very early 1900s, but it pretty well died out after that. But anyway, the Gothic Age was a great fear among people about being buried alive. They did not really start embalming people till the Civil War, and it was not very prevalent in a lot of the countryside, only in cities that had morgues and stuff like that. Uh, Abraham Lincoln was embalmed. You hear a lot about this. But anyway, the funeral science of it was very rudimentary back in the day. So most of the people were not embalmed, okay? And so you would definitely have a chance of waking up and being buried alive. I do not watch stuff like that anymore. I don't blame you. I'll tell you what, some things you gotta watch, if they hurt your spirit, don't watch them. Don't mess with them. If they bother you or make you uncomfortable or give you very negative vibes, it's a good thing to stay away from it, whatever it may be. I wonder what people. But the interesting thing about Buried Alive was that he got his revenge. He got out and got his revenge. And that old gal, she really deserved everything she got. She was a humdinger. I'll tell you what, she killed him for his money, and I mean, she deserved everything she got. It was good to see her get her desserts. Now, girls, that the ministry that yells at the corner of the streets, calling all heathens like they used to in the mid '90s. No, that's a different one. I'm afraid they don't do that. Let's see, like I'm buying. There's been several different sects of the Knights Templar. Okay, uh, some of them good, some of them not so good, but that's the way it goes. They took the name and went with it, you know. But this is the original supposed order of the Knights Templar that originated from the original ones. They were done very badly wrong on that Friday the 13th back many, many years ago. They were all hunted down, killed, and burned alive and all that stuff simply because they had more money than the King of France, and he didn't like that. That's the way it goes. 99.9% of those buried alive never made it. No, there was a lot of them that we'll never know about because they're still buried. You know what I'm saying? You don't dig people up as you're around to find out anything. But, you know, a lot of this was also ties into vampires, you know, the things people are finding in these vampire graves and all that. Hey, don't call me a heathen, don't judge me. Well, I'm going to tell you something, okay? And here's my own personal motto. You take it for what it's worth. And this is the way I feel people need to be. But anyway, my own personal motto is this: I am no one's judge. I'm nobody's judge but my own. I judge only myself, nobody else, because that's not my job. That's God's job, not mine. I don't want that job, thank you, by the way. So I don't judge anybody but myself. And that's the way some of these people should be. I'm not going to go around telling you you're going to go to hell or you're going to go to heaven because I don't know. I'm not God, okay? I don't do that. That's not my job. I don't tell anybody. I don't think anybody should tell anybody that either because they're overstepping their bounds, okay? Big time. I don't go around doing that. No, I'm not qualified to judge. Me neither. I watch scary movies on occasion as I watch Doctor Who. Yeah, oh, Doctor Who. Well, that's what me and Barry talk about when we get together. We're both Whovians. We talk, but our favorite Doctor Who was Tom Baker. Okay, the guy with a long scar. He was the best. He was the best in my book. Well, with you, Freedom Lover says. Well, thank you. Good. Come on with me. We'll march to a different drummer. Okay, absolutely. But no, I do not judge anyone. I mean, it's not my job. And I can tell when you're doing something wrong. I can. Fruit don't fall far from the tree. If you are a bad dude and you're doing bad stuff, you're gonna have rotten fruit on your tree. We're all gonna see that. Okay, that's gonna be obvious. But if you're a good guy and you got good fruit, we see that too. But it's not my job to judge you. I am not your judge. You will face a greater judge than me one day. You will face a greater tribunal than me. I don't want that job. I'm just worried about facing that judge myself. I wake up every day with this thing. I'm not going to try to be better than anyone. I'm just trying to be better than myself. You know? I heard many preachers tell the congregation they will go to hell if they don't follow their ways. Well, I don't know. I'm going to tell you what I've said about that before. There's a great big difference between the religion of men and the kingdom of God. Big difference. Way big difference, my friend. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I know there's a great big difference. I want to be in the kingdom of God, not the religion of men. Big difference. My favorite is Peter Cabaldi. Oh yeah, yeah. What you want? You need to watch the Tom Baker. Tom Baker was great. Oh, he's a great actor. And of course, before him, there were several before him that were good. Going back to the old days, they were very good. But and David, what's his name? The one that was in Harry Potter. Can't think of his name. He was great. He was a great Doctor Who. There were some that were after Tom Baker that were pretty good. But it's pretty well, it's got too woke now. It's just way too woke and all that touchy feely stuff. It is, they really destroyed Doctor Who. It's not worth watching anymore. Man, I don't watch it. Yeah, you love Doctor Who. Huh? Those Cabaldi one with celery in his buttonhole. It seems like that might have been him. when you see, in the presence of the kingdom of God, there will never be a question of anything. Absolutely, freedom lover. That's a big difference. Jesus said you had to have the faith of a child to enter into the kingdom of God. Okay, you got to be like a child to enter into the kingdom of God. That's what you got to shoot for. The kingdom of God, the kingdom of light against the kingdom of darkness in this world. And like I said before, and it's so very true. I said this on another show the other night. We are really living in a matrix, all right? It's not a computer generated matrix. That's not what it is. Not like the movie, okay? That's Hollywood, okay? We are living in a matrix, but it is a matrix of the world system. The world system is evil and corrupt. Okay, trust me, it is. The governments are that. So are the judiciary. So are the churches. The list goes on and on and on because they are corrupt and evil. That by their very nature and destructive. That is the world system to which you and I are unfortunately slaves to. I've said this before and say it again. Slavery still exists in this world. It never, ever stopped being in this world. We are slaves to the system, my friends. The evil and corrupt, dark system that rules this world and everything in it. But one day, our true God and Savior is going to free us from this. He's going to destroy that world system and bring in the kingdom of God. And then we'll know true happiness and we'll know true, complete spirituality. We will be one. I'll stand for God, freedom, says. Absolutely. That's who you better stand for. Debit slaves. Yes, ma'am. We are slaves to everything, not just the debts. We are slaves to our work. We are slaves to everything. It has made us that way. They've got us about right where they want us. And like I said before about voting and stuff like that, you have very few rights left. Hold on to the one that you have. Hold on to the light. That's what I say at the end of every program. Hold on to the light. That's the only hope you've got against this system. And it is corrupt and evil and dark and insidious and deceiving and secretive. Everything about it is bad and wrong because it was made by corrupt men and women. I ain't gonna let the women off either. I'm sorry. Men and women both have a hand in this corruption. That's what we're dealing with. Okay, we gotta remember that and never lose sight of that. Don't let go of the light. There is no greater joy to understand than we are light. We are the children of light. God is the light. We are the children of light. Don't ever forget that. What do you think about the people who say we're in Revelations now and counting down? Well, I think we're very close to it. And the one thing you've got to watch for, I talked to a man on the telephone last night. I do a lot of counseling. I now have Carol Paranormal Consultant Service going, by the way. It's called CPCS. Carol Paranormal Consulting Service. I get that out. I'm sorry, my tongue's not working tonight. Anyway, I now have that as a consultation service, okay? And I was talking to a man last night about that very same thing. And it's very true that we are living, and I think, in the final days. But the one thing we've got to really watch out for when they rebuild that temple, my friends, it's got to be there. That temple's got to be there. When they rebuild that temple in Jerusalem, that's going to be the end. You know, without a doubt, the end is very close at hand. And as Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. The dark side is always there, waiting for us to enter, waiting for the enter. Yeah, yeah, you like that, do you? Okay. Or any of you, I want to recommend something tonight, and I love science fiction. Okay, I love good science fiction, And this was something before your time, okay? Because it was back in my time when I was a kid. But there was a series on television, one of the best series ever. Okay, I love it. It's still on. You can still catch episodes on MeTV, but like it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, but you can find this elsewhere, and it's called The Invaders, and it is one of the greatest TV science fiction series ever made. Okay, and I'm going to recite for you tonight the way it begins. Okay, now listen to this. This is great. The invaders, alien beings from a dying planet, their destination, the Earth, their purpose, to make it their world. David Vincent has seen them. For him, it began one lost night on a lonely country road, looking for a shortcut that he never found. It began with a closed and deserted diner and a man too long without sleep to continue his journey. It began with the landing of a craft from another galaxy. Now David Vincent knows that the invaders are here, that they have taken human form. Now he must convince a disbelieving world that the nightmare has already begun. And that's the way it would always start. You're talking about a great series. You need to watch it. Trust me. I know it's dated now, but it has some great stories. And it's very much like some things that we talk about today, reptilians and all that stuff. You need to check out The Invaders. Yeah, I'm a boomer too. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I feel kind of old sometimes, though. I kind of old as a hill. Do you have that memorized? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's memorized. Yes, ma'am. I loved it the way it comes on. Architect David Vincent. That was his name. Played by Roy Finnis, by the way. You'll know him if you ever seen him. He's still alive, by the way. He's about like 95 years old now. But he's still alive. And I have a friend who met him and did an interview with him. So I've shook the hand of the man who shook the hand of David Vincent. uh, but anyway, we are ageless. We may be vampires. We may be kin to Comte Saint Germain. I believe he's still out there wandering around. I believe he's the Wandering Jew. He's been around for 2,000 years. Wouldn't that be neat? But that's the way it would always begin, and nobody would believe this poor man. He knew the world was being invaded. Aliens were everywhere. They looked like people. The only way you could tell them from anybody was that their little finger was messed up. That's the only difference. You couldn't tell them from anybody else, the humans, unless you killed them, and then they would burn up and disintegrate. So there was never a body left. So this poor guy was trying to convince everybody the world's been invaded, but they wouldn't believe him and called him a crackpot and a kook, and he's crazy. They tried to put him away one time. Great series. Great series. The Invaders had a great flying saucer in it too, man. It was great. You're a Gen Xer. I know you are, yeah. Well, near everyone knows Kolchak, the Night Stalker. Did you like the other series, Circle of Fear Ghost Story? Oh, yeah, that was a good one, too. I was a fan of a lot of those series. The one that, what was his name? Sebastian Cabot, Mr. French from Family Affair. He did one called Ghost Stories where he introduced ghost stories. He was a great host on that. That was a British ghost story thing. I can't think of the name of it. One of my all-time favorites back then was "It's a Strange Universe." I like their tagline. Said, "It's a strange universe out there, and we've got it covered." Well, they had some great stuff on Strange Universe, and like Unsolved Mysteries, they had some great stuff. So they had some paranormal stuff on Unsolved Mysteries. Just about every episode had some kind of paranormal thing. I mean, it was great too. But nobody could beat, uh, the host of that. He was great. Yeah, I remember watching all this stuff. Quinn Martin's Tales of the Unexpected. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. Have you ever seen Warehouse 13? Oh yeah, I watched that. I was hung up on. I watched all the science fiction and fantasy stuff like that. Oh yeah. Sanctuary. You remember Sanctuary? That was a great one. They collected cursed objects. Oh, that was the Friday the 13th series. I love that. I've got the whole series on DVD, by the way. Friday the 13th, the series. They were always looking for cursed objects. Great series. I love that. We certainly do have the best of both worlds. There you go. Something to be appreciative of, definitely. You're at the right time. The right time convergence. But anyway, there was some great shows over the years. Of course, the Twilight Zone. I love Night Gallery just as much as the Twilight Zone. In some ways better. It was neat. Night Gallery had some great shows, and you might remember there was another show with Gary Collins called The Sixth Sense. And this poor old guy, he would always get ESP episodes. He could see visions, but he could never figure them out until the end of the show, of course. That got him in a lot of trouble. That was very good. And there was a movie made by Leonard Nimoy called Baffled, where he was having visions like that, and he was a race car driver. That was a great paranormal movie, Baffled. And Carol, were you able to watch the Australian TV series The Evil Touch in the 70s? You went there where you live or caught it on reruns. I remember seeing some of The Evil Touch, but didn't get to see a lot of it. Was there ever a point where you might have gone into magic cursed item conversation instead of investigating? Well, I have actually been given cursed items. I have cursed items around in my little museum here that people have given me. Of course, they're no longer cursed. I would not have them in here if they were cursed any longer. I have the curses have been removed off of them. They've been cleansed. But I do have some of those items. I even have the bullet that didn't kill me. I'll have to show you that one night. It is a bullet while I was a police officer that came very close to killing me. I saved it. Was there, let's see, I really don't recall the TV series The Hitchhiker. Well, that was very interesting, but I was never a big fan of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It was just too crazy and off the wall. I didn't like it. Doctor Who's much better than that. It was okay, I guess, but I didn't particularly care for it. I think you have certain patterns of science fiction you shouldn't violate, because the story suffers from it. That's just the way that goes. But yes, I do have certain items like that around me. I think I showed you all the fork that a demon bent one time. I've got that here. I got certain items like that I've collected over the years. People have given me things. Said, please take this. I don't want it in my house anymore. Get rid of it for me. So I would, take it and cleanse it. And some of them I got rid of. Some of them I had to bury. Some of them I didn't. They weren't that bad that I kept. But always keep some holy water close at hand, just in case. Doctor Who is definitely the best. Yeah, I love Doctor Who. Yeah, he was good. I loved the Star Trek. Star Trek was good. I was a big fan. Of course, now it's getting redundant and getting into some weird stuff. But I like the original. I like Star Trek: The Next Generation. Those are my two favorites. Remember that episode, Amazing Stories, called Thanksgiving, about the creatures that lived in that hole, starring like David Carey. Oh yeah, I remember that. I'll tell you another great amazing story. You remember that was about the little boy that went to the Alamo and he actually saw somebody from the Alamo that came through to our time. Remember that one? I can't think of it. I think it was called Alamo Joby or something like that was the name. That was a great one too. I liked amazing stories. It was good. Yeah, keep a whole lot close by. You never know when you need it. I like the positive view of the future the Star Trek takes. Yeah, that's good. That's always good. Now, I like Star Wars, but you really can't compare Star Wars and Star Trek. But that's another franchise. They're just doing it to death. and it's not kept its really epitome of what it truly was. It's gone way, way downhill to the point where I'm just not interested in it anymore. And I'm not interested in Star Trek that much anymore. It's not that good to me. I like the original. I like the Star Trek Next Generation. That's gonna always be my two favorites. But I mean that's just me. But the writing has gone downhill. The stories and the characters have gotten too woke. And whenever you go woke, it's always at the expense of characters and storylines, and that's what builds your premise. And they very stupidly stick to this woke formula that's doing nothing but ruining the story and turning people away from it. I don't understand Hollywood. The mentality of Hollywood is so liberal that like I said, their brains have fell out. That's how open-minded they are. You know what I mean? Fringe TV series. Fringe. Oh yeah, Fringe was. I remember that one. What was the name of that one? Oh god, it was a series that had a Helen Slater in it, and it was about the occult. I can't think of the name of that. And they were all a group of people who were into the occult and stuff like that. Can't remember the name of that now. It's a very famous one. Yeah, they just kept squeezing the franchise, even after the story's done. Oh yeah, I mean, it's like squeezing a dead orange. You ain't gonna get nothing else out of it but trouble. When you woke, you go broke, and that ain't no joke. Yep. Holly weird. Boy, I can tell you some stories. But anyway, when you have parties where you eat body parts of people, that's never a good thing. But I'm not gonna get into that tonight. I'll probably get banned on YouTube. I really like Supernatural. Supernatural was very well written, but it went off on the end. It stayed on too long. They should have ended it back when Bobby died. They should have ended right after that. They kept at it too long. You can go too far and too long with something when you really need to come to a conclusion with it. That's very bad to do. Oh yeah, The Believers. Yeah, I believe that was it. Yeah, that might have been it. Seemed like it was. Anyway, it was a great one too. And what it was, they were a group of people who had paranormal abilities, but they were helping people with paranormal cases and stuff. It was pretty good. Yeah, you said the occult. Do you remember the 1980 movie made for TV movie, The Mysterious 2, that was said to be written about the Heaven's Gate? Oh yeah, I remember Heaven's Gate thing. Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that movie. Yeah. First season, Supernatural was the best. Oh yeah, after that, and yeah, it's not the character. But like I said, they did it. They should have. They went too far. They should have ended it right after Bobby died and all that, and their dad and all that stuff. And they bringing their mother back in on it, and she was, hunting. It got too redundant. It just, I don't know. It lost its spirit. It was better when it was just them two, doing their stuff. I don't know. They brought her mother back, and she was, and it wasn't really her mother; it was a demon, and all that bunch of other stuff. It was bad. I bet he don't come around here and video of the eating Alice in it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot going on in this world, my friends. It would blow your mind completely out if you really knew about it. If you knew some of the things I know, you would never sleep well again. I don't. And it might be best that you don't know. So that's trust me, you won't be happier with the knowledge of it. You definitely won't. It will not make you happy. Far from it. Certain knowledge is hard not only to obtain but to retain. You got to remember that. Graham, yeah, Graham was great. I was a big fan of Graham. It's playing again on. I think you can watch it on Tubi or somewhere like that for free. I think it's. Oh yeah, it's on. Graham is on CW too. By the way, yeah, CW is a great little app that you can download and watch some of that stuff on it. Pretty neat. Heaven's Gate was in the mid-90s, and then comment, yeah, Halo Bob, yeah. That was, I want to tell you what, that right there, Heaven's Gate is a true illustration of what happens when you go too woke, okay? That is a good illustration of what happens. Very bad, went very bad. It's kind of a Jim Jones thing, you know, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Alcoa presents One Step Beyond. Oh yeah, One Step Beyond. That was the forerunner of all that stuff before the Twilight Zone and all that. One Step Beyond. I've watched all those over the years. There were some great ones on that. Oh yeah. I watched mostly that in reruns because I was very young when it first originally aired. I found it later in reruns. I found a lot of stuff in reruns later along that time period. Yeah. You recall Roots started in the 70s. Oh, yeah. Hmm. Well, but still, it was sort of what happens when you mess with people's minds and get them a certain mind frame and all that. Same thing with Jim Jones and Guyana and all that stuff. You know, drinking the Kool-Aid. I mean, that's the bad thing about these kind of cults and all that. They isolate you, they turn you in on yourself, they get you to believe their weird ideology, you know. And there are some other cults like that, like the Mormon Church and so on. I won't get into that tonight. Scientology and all that. They don't, that actually I warn people about, just stay away from it, you know. Me TV used to show Thriller. Oh, yeah, Thriller, one of my favorites. This is a thrill. This is Boris Karloff, and this is a thriller. That's the way it always come on. I like that. Why do people end up in these cults? What's the psycho behind it? I'll tell you what it is. They are brainwashed into these things many, many times. They indoctrinated into these things. That's what captures a lot of people. There are certain demons who have that job to indoctrinate people and to take their minds away from the truth and go down the roads and lanes of deceit that they want you to go down. Trust me, I know. Knowing what I know now, I look at sci-fi differently, especially shows like Buffy, Angel, and Star Trek. Well, you got to remember about a lot of those shows. They had a certain element to them where they were trying to brainwash you into believing certain things that were not true. You have to be on guard against anything like that, wherever it shows up, whether it be in books, magazines, media, and all that. Just like Jessica said the other night on her show about the sunglasses. You take the sunglasses and put them on, and it says obey, consume, buy this, believe this, and all that. That's what we're being done to us right now. We are being inundated. We are being mind controlled. We are being fed day in and day out a certain way to believe things, and we need to fight against that. I read Roots, big book, and that was something. That's all the TV series Roots too. Well, that was the thing about Roots was it was too woke for its time, and it went way overboard in some things. I didn't like it. It was not historically accurate on some things. I am big on history. I'm a big historian, okay, an amateur historian, and it was definitely was not accurate about a lot of things that went on in that. And one more thing, the fallacy that was made up that these plantation owners beat their slaves all the time. That did not happen. You did not do that to people who worked for you out in the fields. Okay, that was propaganda. That did not happen. I know it happened on occasions, yes, but all the time, no, it didn't go on all the time like that. A lot of that was not the way. A lot of it's propaganda. Trust me, and it's not really historically accurate. And if you're gonna do a timepiece, be for heaven's sake, be accurate about it. Are you familiar with Otis Toole and Henry Lee Lucas? They went out and these serial killers who confessed to hundreds of murders and claimed to be in a cult called Hands of Death. I think I've never heard of that. I've read a lot about serial killers over the years, especially when I was in law enforcement and all that. I've read a lot on criminology, and I remember that the Hands of Death, yeah, and They also took a lot of their philosophy from Aleister Crowley, who talked about the left-hand path. Never go down the left-hand path, my friends. Go to the right-hand path. The left-hand path is not good at all. Trust me, it leads to hell. Okay. You don't want to go that route. But they were sort of mixed up in a lot of stuff like that. And of course, in law enforcement, I saw a lot of ritualistic murders, a lot of ritualistic torture that went on, all for the sake of witchcraft and Satanism and vampirism and all the rest of it mixed in. We used to go to classes on this stuff. Okay. Trust me. We had the FBI teaching us this stuff. Mysterious too. Yeah, that was very interesting. Didn't you think that President Lincoln's vampire story is any man? Nah, that's a bunch of bull. That's just made up stuff. He didn't. He was more into the occult with seances. That is what he was in because his wife was in that. You do what your wife says, or you get in trouble. Okay. But he was more into that. But he did have some paranormal incidents where he saw his own death and where he actually saw a ghost in the White House. And he actually saw his own death. He had a vision of it, a dream. And that was real spooky. But no, he didn't have nothing to do with vampires, as far as I know. That's a bunch of junk. That was made up for the movie Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter thing, which was really hilarious. I cannot imagine Abraham Lincoln being a vampire hunter. But anyway, I'm gonna say something about Abraham Lincoln, and some people will disagree with me on this, but he was nothing but a politician. Okay, folks, he was not a god. Some people worship him as almost like a god-like presence. He was not that. He was a regular politician that knew how to. He was a mover and shaker. He knew how to get people to do certain political things, to get certain other political things to do. He actually did not like black people. He actually said some very bad things about black people. He said that they would never be equal in intelligence to white people. And he even had plans after the Civil War to ship all black people back to Africa. I'm not making this up. This is true historian stuff here, okay? He did not, he used black people simply as a political tool. Trust me, no matter who it is, that's the way politics go, my friends. Okay. That's why I don't like politics. I don't play politics. I don't like politics that much because that's what politics, he uses people for all the wrong reasons. Whoever you may be. Never worship a person. That's true, Ron Riley. They don't not deserve your worship at all. They are imperfect beings. You know what? If I lied to you tonight and said, "Oh, ain't nobody perfect with me. I'm perfect," I'm telling you the biggest lie out there. Okay, nobody's perfect. Trust me. And even some people try to come off acting, and they have a certain perfect lifestyle that they want to lead. They got to have a certain perfect kind of car, certain perfect kind of wife or husband. They got to have a certain amount of money in the bank account. They got to have a certain job. They got to have a mistress. They got to have this. They got to have that. They chasing after perfection that they will never get, and they're doing it in all the wrong ways. That's the way that goes. And that's the kind of people you got out there. They're chasing that perfection they'll never get. You will never be perfect in this plane of existence. Trust me, no matter what you do. St. Teresa was not perfect. St. Paul was not perfect. Paul said he had a lot of problems. Nobody's perfect. If you want to be honest, nobody's perfect. We are all sinners who have fallen short of the glory of God. I am perfectly flawed. There you go. Yeah. That's the only perfection we can get, to be perfectly flawed. That's it. That's part of the bravado to consider multiple scenarios and multiple victims to bolster their reputation and get the attention. Oh, yeah, that's part of what they do. You know, they make themselves to be like almost godlike individuals. I decide who is going to live and who's going to die. They love that power. That's what it's all about. Control over the situation. That's the nine and a half times out of 10. When a man rapes a woman, he's not doing it for sexual satisfaction. He's doing it for control over that woman. That's what it's all about. And that's the way serial rapists work. That's the way serial killers work. It's all about control. Just like the rest of this messed up society we're living in. It's all about control over you and me and everything else. That's what the goal is. That's what I said to that guy I was talking to last night. I said it's a game of control. They want to see how much they can control us. And that's what it's all about. And the more control they get, the more they want. This is the word. The darkness, my friends, is the worst addictive thing in this universe. If you ever get infected with the darkness, you're usually lost because it eats you up alive. And your soul ain't never coming out of it. That's why I warn people so much against the darkness. Stay away from it. I've seen serial killers face to face. So have I. And it's not, there's nothing really human there anymore. They don't have a soul anymore. They're lost souls. They're not really human. Not the way that you and I are. Tool called himself a powerful man because he couldn't quite get the word power of man. Yeah. Some of them are not real bright, too. So much hate all around in the name of religion, color. Why do people have so much hate? Because that's what they want, Riley. They want that because they control us with that hate. It's like, we were talking about that Mary Littleton was talking about the other night. That's what it all comes down to. They want to turn us against each other. They want us to be loggerheads against each other. They want us to hate each other. They want that division because they are afraid of us when we unite. That scares the bejeebers out of them. They don't want us to be united because they can't control us that way. What have I said so many times before in the past? I'll say it again. Darkness, evil in this world wants to keep you as a victim because it fears you as a warrior. That's a truth, my friends, you can take home to the bank. They fear you if you get united. They don't want you to be united. They want you to keep hating people and turn against them and not loving your brothers and sisters the way you're supposed to. If you got true love of God in you, if you have a true love of God in you, my friends, you love everybody, no matter who or what they are. The lowliest person that's out there. What does the Bible say? What does God say? We are concerned with even the lowliest sparrow. God knows what happens to the lowliest sparrow out there. And you know what God said to you? He said this about you. I'm talking to you out there. He said, I have numbered the very hairs on your head. I have known you before the creation of this world. God knows you better than anybody, better than your wife, your mother, your father, better than anybody, because He is your creator. Don't ever forget that. He knows you. You'll always be in the memory of God. That's something to think about, He lived in Maryland, Point Pleasant. I lived in the neighborhood and we crossed paths, my friends. Bad crowd to hang out with. So many different denominations, so confusing who or what. Forget about that. That is man-made religion. God never made one single religion on this planet. God never made a single one. They're using God's name. Just like this system is using right. Look, tree falls on your car, act of God. God had nothing to do with that. But He gets blamed for it. Trust me, okay? That's the way it goes. And that's what religion's all about. It's man-made stuff. Jesus ran them out of the temple. He rebuked them because of that. He said, you vipers, you make it hard on people to enter into the kingdom of heaven. You call them snakes. That's what they are. That's what all this is about. You got man-made stuff And you got God-made stuff. Let's go with the God-made stuff. It's made perfectly. The man-made stuff is imperfect. They're using God's name to kill people, to do horrible things. They've always done that. It's a part of the control. They use your religion thing to control you. We need to get out from under that umbrella. No one knew he was like that. It seemed out of character, but that's something because the mask they wear. Yeah, well, yeah. They wear a mask really good. They could be. That's the bad thing about serial killers. They're kind of like werewolves. They could be your next door neighbor. It could be a Sunday school teacher. It could be the boy bagging groceries at the grocery store. You never would know it until it was too late. That's the insidious thing about serial. I asked a serial killer one time. This guy, he killed his girlfriend, cut her up in little pieces, ate some of her, put the rest in the freezer, went home, took a shower, took a nap. I asked him later, I said, why did you do that? What did she do to you? Why did you do that? He said, I don't know. I don't know why I done that. He didn't care any more about it than changing socks. It didn't bother him. There you go. I mean, that's what kind of darkness you're dealing with. Like I said before, I'll say this tonight, and I'm going to ring it off here in a minute. I got to go. But listen to what I'm telling you. Listen very closely to what I'm about to tell you. Here's what you need to watch out for. Inside of you, every one of you and me, everybody on this planet, there is a dark side to us. There is a darkness there. It's called sin, by the way, okay? We all have it in us. We have a murderer in us. We have a rapist in us. Under certain circumstances, we could go that way. We could be serial killers, okay? No, you got to understand that. Don't ever say, oh, I can never do nothing like that, because that's not true. You could. Inside of all of us, there exists this darkness. If we don't take the positive aspects of our life and push it down, keep it under control, keep it where it needs to be, we're going to run into big trouble. The prisons are filled with people who didn't do that. And so are the graveyards. Let me tell you something, my friends. There's a darkness out there in the world that wants to hook up with that darkness inside of you. It wants to pull you further into the darkness, where it will eat you up alive and destroy your soul. You don't come back from that, my friends. You don't come back from that usually. There have been some lucky people who've escaped, but don't count on him, okay? Don't ever get in this situation to let that darkness pull you deeper into the darkness. Keep that darkness in you pushed down, shoved down, under control at all times. Don't let that beast inside of you out. Because if you do, it could destroy you and everything around you. Okay? Right now, tonight, they have arrested people in a plot from Iran to assassinate President-elect Trump. They've arrested people to do that were out to kill him. Okay? We have a lot of darkness in this world, my friends. And it's out there, and it will affect you someday, sooner or later, in some way. It's going to affect you. Trust me, it will. You need to be ready for it. And the best way to be ready for it is to keep that darkness in you under control. Keep that darkness in you pushed down. To keep the positive stuff in your life that will far outweighs the negative things. You'll be okay. And then you can put on that true armor of God, and you can stand. The Bible says you will do all to stand, and you will stand. Okay? You got to do that if you're going to survive. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I'm telling you nothing that I never told other people before. It's the same thing over and over. We've got to remember what our true natures are, and we got to keep them under control. We got to have more positive. We got to have more of the light in us than the darkness. We got to have that light far outweigh the darkness in us and in our lives and the people that we associate with, the things that we see and read and hear. Some of this music you're listening to, this old rapper crap, they're telling you to kill people and get power and treat women like dirt and all this other stuff. Don't listen to that stuff. Don't put that stuff in your mind. Stay away from it. It is darkness. Okay? I don't care if it's country music or whatever it is. Okay? I'm not just picking on one. It's all that way. I got a tear in my beer and I went out last night and I got drunk. Well, what's happy about that? Don't feed the beast in you. Because one day he's liable to get out. When he does, he'll eat you up alive. Well, that's what we've got to watch out for. And that's what we've got to be warning other people about. I am the master of fear and destroyer of hope, the enemy of mankind throughout the universe. Mortal, I am evil itself. Yeah, that's what it is. That is very true. Okay, somebody kind of got that on the right track. That's the way evil works. And whether you believe there's a devil or not, and I do without doubt believe him because I've seen his work, okay? But let me say this. Whether or not you believe it, you got to remember the power of the devil is that people don't believe him. He don't want you to believe him. He don't want you to know the truth. Because if you know the truth, then you are really his enemy. And he don't want that. What did I say? He wants to keep you as a victim. He wants to keep you pushed down under his foot. Because he's afraid of you as a warrior. Let us be warriors, my friend. Let us rise every morning as warriors. You know what C.S. Lewis said? Listen to what he said. I want to live my life so that when I die, hell will rejoice that I'm out of the fight. That's what we got to live for right there. Bounty Hunter Bear. Stop looking for the abyss. It knows and is waiting for you to reach out. Absolutely. Don't look for it. Don't hook up with it. Repel it. Resist it. Push it aside. Because if it ever hooks up to the darkness in you, you will be handling the most addictive substance in this universe, my friend. It will eat you up alive. Fight for your country, but not for the politicians. Well, that's right. That's not what it's about. Politicians are supposed to work for you. Why are they getting millions of dollars? Why are they telling they're supposed to work for you what you want? And if they don't work for you, you need to fire them. Plain and simple. They're all puppets and decisions are made behind the scenes. Let me ask you a question, Obama. Listen to this. Obama still got an office in Washington. He's the only president I ever seen that does that. Why is that? Why? There's that question we need to ask again. Why? Why do you need to keep an office in D.C.? Because I'll tell you why. You're the puppet master. That's why. You're running a puppet show, okay? And the puppet show's in the Oval Office, by the way. I won't get into that. They put devils in my head. I don't know what to think. That is how a lot of us feel. Well, that's the way they want you to do. Don't you understand? They want to muddy the waters. They want to confuse you. They want to keep you. That's why I say hold on to the light. Hold on to the truth. Hold on to what's real in this world. Okay, and the things that will try to lead you astray from that truth or what you need to resist. You need to listen to you. Listen to me, my friends. When you die and you leave this world, you need to leave this world an enemy of hell. That's the way you need to go out. A warrior of the light and the enemy of hell. Go out that way and you'll go out good. That's all I got to say on that. I appreciate you all being here tonight. There's nothing greater than the truth of God, freedom of it. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. The truth that will stand forever when the world was on fire. And there is a spiritual fire coming to this world, my friends. And you may see it one day very soon. Watch for that temple to be rebuilt. That is the number one sign. That temple has to be rebuilt so that the man of evil, the son of perdition, will stand in that temple and declare himself God and blaspheme the Holy of Holies. That's got to happen. And that man is the Antichrist. And when they build that temple, you know that man is in this world alive and ready to go. Trust me, that's the one sign that I'm watching for. that will tell me what I need to know. Until then, we need to be careful how we live our lives. And we need to keep that light and goodness in our lives and that love of God in our hearts, that we can combat this darkness in ourselves and in the world. That's the way that we got to roll as warriors of light. Okay? Well, I appreciate you all being here tonight. It has been a fantastic show. And I will see you tomorrow night, God willing, and the creeks don't rise, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Hunting the Shadows with my good friend Jawinski from Crypti Warfare. Okay? You do not want to miss the show. It's going to be great. And we're going to have some other special thing coming down the line. I got that Island of the Dead that I'm going to be bringing to my members of my Patreon. If you are not a member of the Patreon, you might want to consider that and become an official shadow hunter. Okay, you get special stuff. You're going to get swag. You're going to get special videos. We're going to have talks together. We're going to do some fun stuff, okay? That's coming up. You're going to get some special stuff. Join the Patreon and become an official shadow hunter. You will be glad you did, okay? You'll get some special stuff. YouTube has taken my monetization away from me. I will be able to reapply. They're just trying to stop me, folks. I didn't do anything. They're just trying to wipe me out because I'm telling some truth they don't like, okay? But anyway, I get to reapply December the 17th, okay? So be praying for me and be hoping for me. It would help out a lot. It would help cover some of the overhead costs that I have to bring you these shows. Okay, I'm not here to make money. I don't make money this way. This is just to help compensate for my costs, and it costs me well over $100 a month just to run this. Okay, so and I'm not a rich man. I wish I were. I wish that was my problem, but I'm not. I live on Social Security check from month to month. That's it. I have nothing else. Okay, so I have a very, very, very tight budget. Okay, I just want you to know I'm not trying to give you a sad story. I'm just telling you the truth of what it really is. So that's what the Patreon's all about. And hopefully I can get monetized. We can have us another membership thing going. They stopped my memberships and everything when they did that. But like I say, they're trying to stop our signal. But they're not going to stop the signal, folks. Okay, I'll tell you why. God's not going to let them stop the signal. Okay, trust me. And I know that. That's inside information I got. Okay. I appreciate you all being here tonight. I'm sorry if I raised my voice. I might have woke somebody up. Okay. But anyway, I very much appreciate every single one of you. Your support, your time and effort, you being a member of this family, and I call this a family. This is your podcast. This is where your voice counts. That's why I like to read your comments so much. I know on a lot of podcasts you don't get to read all the comments, but that's okay. I read them afterwards. I go back to it and I read all of them after, in case somebody asks a question or something. I can address it the next time. So I always try to do that. But you will always have a voice with me. Okay, I'm not gonna let anybody shut you up if I can help it. I'll give that my last breath into that. Okay, and I'll make that promise to you. I don't want anybody to shut you up. I want you to have a voice. Okay. And I appreciate every single one of you. I thank you so much for being here. And remember what I always say, be looking for my next book, by the way. And it's going to be called Paracryptology, the Study of Monsters. Okay. And I'm going to be coming out pretty soon with that. As soon as I get it informed to be translated into being written. I'm still working on it. It's got some rough stuff in it, so I still got to work on it. It started out originally as Things of Nightmare. That was the name of it, but I changed it to Paracryptology. I like that title anyway. I've been working on this for quite a while, and I got to get some more notes and stuff together on it. But anyway, I'm not going to bore you with that, but be watching for that. Hopefully that will come out soon. Of course, you never make a lot of money on books, but I just want to get the information out there and entertain people. You know, that's all it's about. I didn't make a whole lot of money on books, But all my books are available on Barnes and Noble and Amazon. All you gotta do is type in Dennis W. Carroll, okay? And if any of you need me for anything, whatever it may be, just to tell me a story, just you need to talk to somebody, you need a consultation, I don't care what it is. I don't charge you a dime for any of this, okay? I'm here in your corner. I'm here for you. Okay, if you need help, please come to me. Don't hesitate to contact me. If you need me in any way, form, or fashion, I will be here and I am in your corner. Okay, and we're in this fight together. And don't forget that. Okay, check the books out, Riley Ron. And all you gotta do is Amazon. It's gotta be Dennis W. Carroll because there's another Dennis Carroll and he's like a football player, and that's not me. Okay. So it's Dennis W. Carroll at Amazon, okay, or Barnes and Noble, which way you want to go with that. But you can look that up as an author and you will find my books. And my Patreon is on the line there. If you decide you want to join that, whatever you decide to do. And I want to tell you once again, I appreciate your support and your time and effort. And I feel the love, okay? Yes, sir. We do have that. We have that going with us, and I appreciate every single one of you for being here tonight. And until I see you again tomorrow night, remember, non tambo mala, fear no evil, monstrum venator, monster hunter. Fear no evil. Hold on to the light and embrace the mystery. Until we get together again, my friends. Arrivederci and God's speed.